How did you feel?
Yeah, it really pissed me off. And
That's Anson Mount, Captain Pike, the one actor who made modern Star Trek feel like Star Trek again. And what he just said captures exactly what millions of fans are feeling right now, because Paramount has just done something so unbelievably stupid, so self-destructive, that it almost feels deliberate. They're killing Strange New Worlds, the one show that fans, critics, and even people who hated modern Trek all agreed was actually good. And they're not just ending it, they're gutting it, cutting the final season down to 6 episodes, rushing it to the finish line while the show nobody watches, Starfleet Academy, got renewed before it even aired. Paramount had one good thing left, one show that people actually wanted to watch, one captain that fans actually loved, and they're destroying it. And what's replacing it is even worse than nothing. The news broke this week, and it hit the Star Trek community like a torpedo. Strange New Worlds showrunner Henry Alonso Myers confirmed that the show's 5th and final season will consist of only 6 episodes. Not 10 like every other season. 6. That's 40% less content for the show's final chapter. The farewell to Captain Pike, to Spock, to Uhura, to the entire crew that fans fell in love with is being squeezed into 6 episodes and that it's over. But that's not even the worst part. Myers also confirmed that he has officially pitched a follow-up series called Star Trek Year One, which would follow Paul Wesley's James Kirk taking the captain's chair for the first time. It's the show fans have been begging for, the natural next chapter, the bridge between Strange New Worlds and the original series. Myers pitched it directly to Paramount, and Paramount's response? Nothing. Silence. Myers told Trek Movie that it's out of our hands. He pitched the show fans want most, and Paramount won't greenlight it. The creators did their job. They made the pitch, they have the cast, they have the story. Thomas Jane has already been cast as young Bones McCoy. The proof of concept is already filmed. Everything is ready to go, and Paramount just sits there doing nothing. Meanwhile, Starfleet Academy, a show that couldn't crack the streaming top 10, that has a 43% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, that was compared to a CW teen drama by its own viewers, got an automatic second season renewal before a single episode even aired. That show got a blank check. Strange New Worlds gets 6 episodes and a closed door. To understand why fans are so furious about this, you have to understand what Strange New Worlds meant to this community, because it wasn't just another Star Trek show. It was the show that proved modern Star Trek could actually work. When Strange New Worlds premiered in 2022, the franchise was in crisis. Discovery had divided the fanbase for years with its dark tone, serialized plotting, and constant emotional breakdowns. Picard had turned one of television's most beloved characters into something fans barely recognized. The streaming strategy was quantity over quality, and fans were exhausted and angry. Then, Strange New Worlds showed up and reminded everyone what Star Trek was supposed to feel like. It was episodic, it was optimistic, it had a captain who solved problems with intelligence and diplomacy instead of crying and punching. It had standalone stories that explored ideas through science fiction rather than lecturing the audience about contemporary politics. It had humor that felt natural rather than forced. It had a crew that felt like a crew. Anson Mount's Captain Pike became the captain that fans had been waiting for since Patrick Stewart hung up the uniform. He was warm without being soft, he was decisive without being aggressive, he listened to his crew, he made you believe in the chair and what it represented. For a lot of fans, Pike became their captain in a way that no modern Trek character had managed. Strange New Worlds wasn't perfect. Later seasons leaned too heavily into comedy episodes, and some fans felt the quality dipped. But even at its weakest, it was head and shoulders above everything else Paramount was producing under the Star Trek banner. It was the one show that both hardcore Star Trekkies and casual viewers could agree on, the one show that wasn't constantly surrounded by controversy and backlash. And now, Paramount is giving it 6 episodes and shutting the door. The 6-episode decision is what's driving the most intense anger. Fans are pointing out that every previous season of Strange New Worlds had 10 episodes. Season 5 getting only 6 means fans are losing 40% of the show's final chapter. That's 4 episodes worth of character development, storylines, and closure that will never exist. In a final season, every episode matters. This is where you wrap up character arcs that have been building for years. This is where you give fans the emotional payoffs they've been waiting for. Pike's tragic future, Spock's evolution toward the character we know from the original series, Uhura's growth, the entire crew's journey reaching its conclusion. Cramming all of that into 6 episodes means something gets shortchanged. Probably several things. Fans are comparing this to what happened with Star Trek Discovery, where the final season felt rushed and unsatisfying because there wasn't enough time to do justice to the story. And Discovery had 10 episodes for its finale. Strange New Worlds is getting 4 fewer than that. The question fans keep asking is why? Why 6 episodes instead of 10? The answer, according to industry observers, comes down to money and corporate priorities. Paramount is in the middle of acquiring Warner Bros. Discovery in a $111 billion deal. Every dollar is being scrutinized. Budgets are being cut across the board, and a 10-episode final season costs significantly more than a 6-episode one. So Paramount is saving money on the one Star Trek show that actually works. They're cutting corners on the franchise's crown jewel to save budget during a corporate transition. Meanwhile, Starfleet Academy, which costs over $8 million per episode and can't attract an audience, already has its 2nd season filmed and in the can. The math doesn't make sense unless you understand that Starfleet Academy's renewal was locked in before the merger chaos began, and by the time anyone realized the show was failing, it was too late to stop it. But the real fury isn't just about 6 episodes, it's about what comes after, which is nothing. The showrunner confirmed that the Strange New Worlds finale will end with Kirk taking the captain's chair. That's the natural launchpad for Star Trek Year One, the Kirk series that Myers has already pitched. The pieces are all in place. Paul Wesley has been playing Kirk for multiple seasons. Thomas Jane has been cast as McCoy. The story is ready. The creative team is ready. The audience is ready. And Paramount won't say yes. Myers said it's out of our hands. That phrase is doing an enormous amount of heavy lifting. It means the creative team has done everything they can. They've written the pitch, they've cast key roles, they've built the foundation across multiple seasons of Strange New Worlds, and now they're sitting there waiting for Paramount executives to make a decision. And those executives are apparently too consumed with the Warner Bros. Merger to pay attention to the franchise that's supposed to be one of their most valuable assets. Sources say the Year One pitch is sitting on desks at Paramount gathering dust while executives focus on the merger integration. Nobody wants to greenlight new content during a corporate transition because nobody knows who will be running what 6 months from now. So the show that fans want most, built by the creative team that has proven they understand Star Trek, is being held hostage by corporate politics. Meanwhile, Kurtzman told reporters just days ago that he has nothing to report about Star Trek's future. Nothing. The man who has been running the franchise for 9 years has no new shows, no new plans, and no answers. But he still has his contract running through the end of the year, and apparently that's enough for Paramount.
The fan reaction has been volcanic. Social media exploded the moment the 6-episode confirmation hit. Fans are posting side-by-side comparisons of how Paramount treats Strange New Worlds versus how it treats Starfleet Academy. One show loved by fans gets gutted. The other show, rejected by fans, gets protected. The message from Paramount couldn't be clearer if they printed it on a billboard. We don't care what you want. The phrase, "they killed the wrong show," is everywhere. It's become the rallying cry for a fan base that has watched Paramount make wrong decision after wrong decision for years and has finally reached a breaking point. Not because they're angry about one bad show or one controversial casting choice, but because the pattern is now undeniable. Paramount consistently invests in content that fans don't want and consistently undermines the content that fans love. Lower Decks was beloved. Cancelled. Prodigy was beloved. Cancelled. Strange New Worlds was beloved. Gutted to 6 episodes with no successor greenlit. Starfleet Academy was rejected by audiences, renewed before it aired. The pattern speaks for itself. Fans are also furious about the Year One situation. The idea that a ready-to-go Kirk series, with cast already in place in a creative team that has earned the audience's trust, is sitting in limbo while Paramount figures out its corporate structure, is being described as the most frustrating thing the franchise has done since letting Star Trek IV die in development hell. One post that went viral summarized the frustration perfectly. Paramount spent 9 years and hundreds of millions of dollars making Star Trek content nobody asked for, and when someone finally makes something everybody wants, they can't be bothered to say yes. Here's where Star Trek stands right now. Starfleet Academy Season 1 is finished. Season 2 is filmed and waiting. No Season 3 has been greenlit. Strange New Worlds Season 4 comes later this year. Season 5, the abbreviated 6-episode finale, comes in 2027. After that, nothing. No new shows in production, no new shows greenlit, no new shows in development, the Year 1 pitch sitting unanswered, Kurtzman's contract expiring with nothing to report, the streaming platform being absorbed into a merger with HBO Max, and the only Star Trek content that fans consistently loved being squeezed into 6 final episodes and sent out the door. Paramount had one job: protect the thing that works, invest in the thing that audiences love, build on the foundation that the Strange New Worlds team created. Instead, they're cutting it short, ignoring the follow-up pitch, and leaving the franchise's future in the hands of executives who are too busy with a $100 billion merger to answer a simple question about whether Star Trek gets to continue. Anson Mount said it best: it pissed him off. It pissed the fans off too, and unless something changes fast, the anger isn't going to fade. It's going to grow into something that Paramount can't ignore. Because Strange New Worlds proved that modern Star Trek can work when the right people are making it, and Paramount just showed the world that they'd rather kill what works than fight to keep it alive. The Enterprise is heading for its final mission: 6 episodes. That's all Captain Pike gets. And somewhere at Paramount, the executives who made that decision are probably too busy counting merger synergies to notice that they just destroyed